Hi, Shelley.
How you doing, Travis?
Good.
Good.
I remembered this time at the right time.
Oh, good.
Hi, Shelley.
Hi, David. How are you?
Doing good.
Good.
Hanging in there.
I hear you.
Hi, Rita.
I guess my mic was turned off. Hello.
There you go. Hello. Mine is my, oh, there we go.
Okay, now you're on too.
There we go.
Hi, Travis. Hi, Darren.
Darren, for some reason, my camera keeps freezing.
No
So
worries, Shelley.
I'm
Thank you.
kind of blacked out here.
That's all good. Shelley indicated we had a quorum earlier, so all systems should be go. ACE Chair Nixon may he may have had an emergency this afternoon and had to turn over the reins. We're expecting 2 guests on the phone on this as well to speak under public comments. Andrea, Nathan, good to see you. And Judy. Great to see you, Judy. Judy, it's good to see you. Looks like you got your audio going.
Is Brad going to be attending?
I have not heard from him today. That he indicated there was a chance that that was the case.
Okay.
For your use, we may have two guests, a gentleman that was invited by Steve Paul, and then a representative from Comcast wanted to connect with ACE.
Okay.
I'm getting a phone call, maybe someone from ACE right now. I'm going to mute. So Brad Nixon just called in and he's going to try to join the call by cell phone. Shelley, if you see him, please unmute him. He's going to have the last four of his phone is 7124.
Got it.
Thank you. Steve, good to see you.
Good to see you as well. I like your background.
Thanks to the chamber. It looks good. I like it.
It's awesome. Good to see everyone.
Judy, in the interest of time, you feel free to start the meeting if you wish.
Okay,
Okay,
sure.
Brad, looks like Brad is joining here. So Shelley, please do the voodoo that you do, please, to make his phone activated. I'm gonna mute.
Is he there? Brad, are you there?
For those that have used Zoom with a cell phone, how do you unmute on your cell? Does anybody have any tip on that, please?
He needs to press start the start video, and then that'll show him the microphone to unmute.
Start video, microphone to unmute. Brad Nixon.
Or *6.
There you go. Or okay.
Or stars. There we go. Look, progress. Look at that. Team effort.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
All righty. Thanks for the lesson in technology. Are we ready to get going?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, hang on. So who all do we have on since I can't see?
Do you want to get a motion for the minutes first?
Do you want me to take roll?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, please take roll.
Andrea,
Here.
Amy, Dylan, Brad,
Here?
Travis,
Here.
Judith,
Here.
Nathan,
Here.
Steve,
Here.
David,
Here.
Rita.
Here.
Rita's okay. And Darren.
Here.
We have a quorum.
And do you mind if I ask, do we have other guests?
We do. If the guest would please introduce yourself. I see a gentleman, JMC. I see a gentleman online, please.
Yeah, hello everybody. How are you doing this afternoon?
Please introduce
That's
yourself,
good.
sir.
Yeah, I work directly with Comcast fiber division, fiber optical build out engineering division, and wanted to engage with the city of Englewood to assist with economic development and the infrastructure foundation for Englewood Incorporated and Englewood, the city as well.
Jay, I'm glad you're here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have another one?
No, sir.
I'm expecting one guest. Maybe he will show up. I'm expecting Kevin Bolster from Lucky Horseshoe Customs motorcycle shop on South Broadway. So hopefully he shows up here.
Okay.
I'll watch
Well-
for Steve.
should I drop off while I'm snaking through the mountains, please, Judy, don't hesitate to pick it up and run with it on my behalf, and I will dial back in as soon as possible. But let's talk about our minutes. Do we have any changes or corrections to last meeting's minutes? Is that a no?
Nope. Correct.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes, raise your hand or say aye. I will say aye. Somebody's going to have to tell me if they were approved.
They're approved.
All right. I would like if we could kind of knock out the bylaws piece, since that seems to be easy for us to kind of get done. I know this is our second reading or second time that's been on there. So, Darren, I assume that we just need to vote on this to take the changes as written and approve them.
That's correct. The city attorney has reviewed and approved the bylaws, and they, with ACE's recommendations, and they're cleared for ACE approval.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the new bylaws, the amended bylaws?
Motion to approve the amended bylaws.
Second.
And it's been
Okay. Here again, all those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
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 They're approved.
All righty. All righty. We're accomplishing something. I gotta love that. If we could just touch base on the survey information. I didn't see, Shelley, did you get a chance to send out the updated stuff?
I did.
So I do not have a copy of that in front of me. So Judy, if you wouldn't mind taking over and kind of leading people through that, I would really love that.
Okay. Just a moment. Not good at finding windows that aren't here.
Well, or if somebody else has it up in handy, if they could lead us through it, I would appreciate it.
Can that be brought up on screen, Darren?
I will work on that, Judy. It'll take me just a minute to get to that, please.
Okay,
I'll be right back. I'll be right back and share my screen.
Okay. Did you hear that, Brad?
I did. If somebody else has a copy of it, if they just want to just jump in and get right started on it, that would be great.
See if I can get it.
I've got it up. Do you want me to just go through page by page?
Well, yeah.
Sounds like we're losing him. That sounds like a good plan. Right back, Brad?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Steve has it up and he'd like to go through it. Is that what you would like, Brad?
Okay, so I'm not sure how it compares to when we received it a couple of weeks ago. I haven't gone through it in that kind of detail. So before I start, okay, there we have it right there. Okay.
What has been changed? Why was there an update?
I think that
look-
might have been on responses.
It looks like there are
summary.
more results.
Yeah, more results. They added more. All it was adding numbers to it of people that responded. Which fine tunes it more, but it was very similar before.
Yeah, the percentages seem to be the same.
Steve, would you
So-
care to
Sure.
step through this? Would you care to
Sure.
step through this? And I can scroll as you say page down, I will scroll down.
Okay, great. Okay, so 93 answered the poll, and which is very good, I think. And 93 answered question 1. Are you at all concerned your business will survive the next 6 to 9 months while waiting for COVID-19 conditions to improve? Go ahead and scroll down a little bit, please, and stay on that page. And basically 79%, 74 people said yes, they are concerned. 19 no's. Next slide, please. So without additional relief, how long will you be able to stay in business? 55 answered and 38 skipped. We have, go ahead and scroll down just a little bit, please. 27 said, I don't know. 4 to 6 months, 13 people, or nearly 25%. 6 months to 1 year, 7 responses, or nearly 13%. Those saying I will be able to stay in business through the COVID-19 pandemic, we had 3 responses. Less than 1 month was, or one, let's see, less than 1 month was 0. Next slide, please. Without immediate relief, how concerned are you that you will have to permanently lay off employees? 55 answered this and 38 skipped. Scroll down a little bit, please. So somewhat concerned, 36%, that's 20 responses. Very concerned, 29%, that's 16 responses. I don't have employees, was about 25% or 14 responses. Not concerned was 9% or 5 responses. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please. Question 4, rank in order of importance what your business needs to survive. Again, the same number, 55 answered that question and 38 skipped. So let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit to the numbers, please. Okay, there we go. Additional access to grant funding. I'm looking at this table trying to understand. Okay. I'm not sure I understand that table. Okay, 12 people said additional access to grant funding. Will you scroll back up a little bit? I'm not quite sure. What the percentages all mean there. So I'm just gonna say that on the surface, it looks like 12 people were looking for access to additional grant funding. New customers was 27%. More federal stimulus funds was rounded up to 15%. Lessening of COVID-19 restrictions, about 25%. Support from other local business leaders, 1 response. SBA-backed business loans, 1 response. Additional employees, 4. I'm not sure, you know what? You all can see those. Brad, you can't see those, and I'm just not grasping this table because of the number of different
think
columns.
That's how many people and percentages that they listed as the number 1 issue and then down. So
Oh, okay. So in other words, if they were in column 2, that was second most on their importance.
right.
Okay.
So the overall score is the 5.04. That means that one was mostly number 1 issue for everyone. And then new customers is number 2 issue.
Got it. Great. Thank you very much. So let's go to the next slide unless anybody really wants to spend some time on this.
I think that pretty much stayed the same.
Okay. And then question 5, can we refer your contact information to others who may be able to help? We have 55 that answered, 38 skipped, and please scroll down. So we had 37 people say yes, they'd like someone to contact them, 18 say no. Next slide, please. Now we have a number of comments, additional informations and experiences that may help us better understand. 45 answered that. And I don't know.
These are just the comments that they left in the text box that we gave them.
And I think we're all pretty familiar with most of these from reviewing this previously. I don't know that we need to spend time digging through that right now. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So just as kind of a general rule, I thought it was helpful to see some of the comments. I was able to speak to one of the 3 people I was attempting to get a hold of. And that was Kevin Bolser, who I was expecting on this call today as a guest. He was pretty excited to hear from someone and really very positive. He wasn't asking for help or anything, but he was offering help. In other words, he'd like to be more in tune with the city and the city businesses, and especially on the South Broadway portion, business district. And he has a custom motorcycle shop. And as a matter of fact, I told him that I thought at some point there would be an alternate board member position open on the ACE committee, and he was excited to learn about that, and he just seemed like he could be a positive contributor. So disappointed he's not on yet. And so I guess at this point, Brad, it would be good to get feedback from people on some of the phone calls they made.
I don't think Brad is with us anymore.
So Julie, what do you think about that? Or
do we know how many additional surveys we received on this update and how many of them asked to be reached out to?
I know Brad sounds like he's trying to unmute as we speak. We did check. Brad can hear us, it sounds like, but he's not able to unmute. So I think as Judy, it sounds like I'm going to try on the back end, try to help Brad as best I can.
Okay,
If you wish to take over from here, I'll be working on the back end to try to help Brad.
okay. Yeah, Andrea, could you repeat what you asked?
Oh, I was just wondering if we know how many additional surveys were added and if they wanted to be contacted.
Steve, do you have any information on that or?
I'm sure probably Brad does, so
Okay, okay.
that's fine. We can wait till Brad gets back on.
What were the impressions for those of you? I was sorry that I couldn't participate because of things that were going on here.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, right. My co-pilot was helping me, Karen. So what was the question? I didn't hear it.
Andrea was asking, based on the update, how many additional surveys came in and wanted to be contacted, and someone wanted to be contacted by someone. If you know.
No additional ones came through after I sent everyone the list. So whoever you guys were able to get in touch with is pretty much the extent of those that wanted to be contacted. I don't know if Darren or others in the city picked up other ones to contact them, but I would like to hear what everyone kind of found out. My calls were semi-informative, and it sounded like maybe Steve connected with some people well. So I really want to hear what people had to say.
I was able to get a hold of my people. And one of them we played phone tag, so I'm going to follow up with again. But everybody was absolutely enthusiastic and overwhelmingly positive about this good and how we respond to businesses. One person in particular was very interesting. She owns a number of, she called it group bars, 72. She owns 5 different places, one in Englewood, one in Middleton, 2 in Aurora, and I think 1 in Denver. And she said absolutely no other city responded or reached out to her. And
You're breaking up, Travis, a little bit.
do I need to speak up a little better? So she said that none of the other cities reached out to her or asked her how her business was doing. She said Englewood responded within 24 hours on everything. She made a couple of specific comments about Jackie McKinnon. She said super praise for her. Nancy Fenton was very thorough. She applied for monies or help. The turnaround was immediate. She said she applied to open the parking area into an outdoor eating area and drinking area. She said that was 24 hours. She said she couldn't believe it. She still hasn't had responses in some of the other cities. But her bottom line was that basic numbers were the shutdown are based on less than 3% COVID spread, but shopping centers were open and they had a 9% COVID spread. And so she said, can you push the cities to open up more and allow more occupancy within restaurants? She said, we're clean, we sanitize everything, but we take every precaution, but all restaurants and bars are terrified that and she is with a consortium. She has a group of people that they all work together. She said they're terrified that Polis is going to send people in to shut them down if they do anything that they're reported on, stepping out of line in any way. She just asked, she said, can we open up at least 25% or more as long as we're following precautions and being safe? I'm just throwing that out there. But she said, and I wrote it down word for word, she is so grateful for what Englewood is doing. We need to be open at 100%, but obviously we're not going to get that far. Englewood could do this. Like to see Arapahoe County push by Englewood, or, doing what needs to be done to open up. Staying open at small amounts is not enough to. She said the only reason Englewood has been so good is because they can, people can come and go quickly, get their stuff, whatever, if they have to sit and wait a minute. She said she's tried by, but nobody has ever gone in and stopped or questioned her. So she's going to go on Facebook Live and say people need to go to Englewood, businesses and otherwise. The other woman I spoke with, I can read what the name of her company is. Emerge Modern Salon, said they just opened a 6,000 square foot space. So they were not restricted the same way a lot of other salons were, because they had so much space spread out. And she's on South Broadway. And for her, she has a team of 20 people, including people that she contracts. She has not had to lay anyone off, but they too are fearful that if they're shutdowns or slowing, that financially, because they built openness, that it's going to be a negative impact. Out of curiosity, I actually asked them how they were doing, and every single one of them said the same thing. We wish we were in Englewood. So if that's any commendation, anything wonderful to share, I have my notes, specifically what they said. By far and away, everybody loves that they're in Englewood. They love that Englewood reached out with financial packets. That most of them said it wasn't enough money, but it helped. But because everything went much longer than everybody expected, they would have changed some of the numbers on the chart as to how long they could stay open. The presumption was that they would be open by Thanksgiving and not pushed out beyond it. So that's my input.
Thank you, Travis.
Travis, I can tell you a couple things from the restaurant end. It's not the city of Englewood's, I guess, authority to be able to allow restaurants to open up. It's the county, so Arapahoe County is responsible for that. That said, I would like to know, maybe pose this question to Darren, how often is Sean or the mayor or somebody within the city staff able to speak with somebody in the county to give them a little feedback?
No, Brad, I know the county has weekly meetings with businesses to receive feedback as well as share feedback across the county, and that's the Tri-County Health Department. TCHD, their weekly Zoom calls. Every business that calls in will be able to interact if there are specific questions. So it's very interactive if there are questions that need to be addressed on the part of a business. So that gets into specifics, whether it's restaurants or you name it type of business that has a level of customer contact, they can get their specific questions answered. We engage with Tri-County Health on other matters relating to grant resources and other programs of that nature. So, but there's a direct interaction with TCHD weekly with businesses.
Thank you for that information, but isn't it the county who sets the level, who set it at red? The county was responsible for that, and isn't it the county that will have to dial it back to orange?
Can't speak to that, Brad. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, the only reason I ask is it might be helpful for somebody at the city of Englewood, maybe the mayor, or Sean or something like that, to call and just say, hey, here's what we're hearing from our businesses in general, we'd like to get an update when the county may dial it back to orange.
Excellent feedback. What little I know about that arena is it's all numbers driven. So as numbers, there needs to be it's a numbers driven decision. It's not a what if decision.
Can I
Councilmember
respond
Russell.
to that? Personally, and this has been part of my frustration, health departments should not be running this. Elected officials should be. And I think that you need, as board members, to appeal to the city council to reach out and put pressure on Arapahoe County. You also need to reach out to county commissioners and put pressure on them as well. I feel your pain, and when I read these things, you don't know how much it upsets me, because it's not only hurting the businesses, it is hurting us as cities, but it is elected officials' responsibility to be running this, not health departments. And so that's my understanding.
Thank you, Rita. That helps.
If it's numbers driven too, and I'm not arguing with Darren because I know how it can be, then don't add up to keeping the restaurants. The numbers for COVID are higher in Target and Walmart than they are in restaurants. So there's got to be more to the numbers. But I also think Rita's right. We need to put pressure on the council members and anybody above to go to the county and say, look, we're ready. We're ready for business. We're open for business. We just need these levels changed. You know what? We can always dial it back if we need to. But these businesses, I don't think another 2 months. They may have said 6 months, 2 months ago, but everything is pushed out so far that they'll just close and quietly walk away. But this does have an effect on the bottom line, not just to the families and stuff, but it has a bottom line as to the revenue that Englewood is looking at. So I think we need to start, and I'll do my part. You tell me who to go, I'll go do it.
If I could give you an update on the calls that I was able to connect with, can I jump in?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I spoke with Trompo Bakery, and actually the new owner, because the original owner sold out within the last 6 months, but the new owner had mentioned that they are in the process of opening up outdoor seating. They're pretty excited about being able to do that for obvious reasons. They have hit a little bit of a snag with the fire department or code kind of side of this in being able to get things approved so that they can move forward with the grant money that they've already received to open up the outside dining area that they want. She was concerned mostly that if she didn't get this done by the end of the year, that there would be some recourse on the money, the grant money that was actually extended to her. I don't know, Darren, if there's anything that we can do or I can say to her as a follow-up, but it sounded like they were trying to connect with the fire department or maybe the building department to get the final bit of that approved so that they could open that dining area for them, for their purposes.
So, Brad, I'm glad you had that interaction with the business owner. It's my understanding and I don't have my finger on the pulse of this one as much as I'd like to, but she has approved permits to go forward with a new liquor license out in a patio, and this is a permanent patio expansion, not a temporary patio expansion. And that would allow her in the long run to sell alcohol sales and extend her liquor and extend her business hours to offer evening service. So grab a pastry and a glass of wine and extend her business hours. The COVID recovery grant that we have expires at the end of the year. and she's had problems getting getting contractors to get the work done quickly. It's basically just there's a little more to it than just putting up some ironwork, but it's a pretty small project, and she's had a hard time getting a contractor to get it done in time.
So your sense is that it's more of a contractor issue versus the city holding them up?
Correct. And the city part is get it done as within the year if she can to keep her grant amount where it is. So she's basically got to the end of the year to get the project done as quickly as she can. She's had that grant approval for a little bit now, and she had problems with one contractor. Now she's working with another to try to get the project done.
She did not share that little bit with me. I'll try to slip by her place here in the next couple days and maybe follow up with her, see what I can do to, maybe help her. I did give her a referral for another Radiant Heat company, actually Radiant Heat in Englewood. They're on Platte River Drive, and she was not aware that they could provide her with some of the things that she was looking for. So trying to connect her to another local Englewood business. I also talked with Project Recycle. They are in the midst of renaming themselves to Hope Cycle. They are a nonprofit that works to help get bikes into the hands of people who can't afford them. And they are working through that kind of rebrand, renaming that I just talked to you about. They did, and they have received grant money. They were, by the way, Trompo as well as Project Recycle, they're both appreciative for what the city of Englewood has been doing. Similar things to what Travis had said about the other businesses, that they were happy that we were calling, following up, doing the survey. And Sean Buck, who is the proprietor or the director at Project Recycle, also works with the city of Littleton and trying to get some things done. Sounds like maybe some of their work they do for the city of Littleton. So they were doing as best they could to kind of survive. And they're going to actually start kind of sounded like a bike shop to help fund their operation, not only through donations, but through having a little bit of income.
Brad, they will have a retail storefront with the bikes that they have, and they've got a really fun apprenticeship program as well to help high school kids learn how to work on bikes, build a work ethic, and just, it sounds like a really neat enterprise. They're a nonprofit right off of South Platte River Drive. Great operation. So glad they're in Englewood. I'm glad you talked to them, Brad.
You bet. Who else has some feedback from people they called?
I do. I was only able to reach one person, so 2 of the businesses I called, I left voicemails and they have not called back. So I don't know if anyone else is in the same boat. I mean, should we follow up with more calls or emails, or do you think that's bothering them too much?
Andrea, I don't think you're going to bother them. If you've made a reasonable attempt to contact them, I mean, I wouldn't go overboard. I called all my people twice, and I connected with 2 of the 3 after calling them twice. It would be nice to get the information, because if we're going to stand before council and talk about the survey and kind of our calls, these are just data points I think that are helpful for council.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll definitely try calling again. I just didn't know what you guys were doing with that. I did talk to the owner of Zoe's Lounge. Obviously it's pretty rough for her as a bar. She's basically closed down right now. She has like no space to be outdoors, and I think with alcohol and stuff, I think they make it close down at 8 p.m. And so she says, most of her sales were between 11 and 2 a.m. So when you're kind of forced to stop sales, that's kind of rough. And so she was more concerned about surviving funding wise and being able to keep her employees. And so she wanted additional resources for funding. And so I emailed her the links for like the Arapahoe grant and some other grants out there. She did receive the $4,000 one from Englewood for the restaurant and bars. And she did get that last week, which is great. So I just sent her a few additional ones, like from the county and some SBA stuff that maybe she could apply for and get. So, like I said, her main concern was just funding and trying to survive when she can't really be open for business.
I had about the
Did you
same.
go ahead, Amy.
I had about the same interaction that sounds like Andrea did. I had about a 50% success rate, called people a couple of times. I couldn't get in with Silver Smiles, the dentistry office. I couldn't get anybody to call me back. But I did have a very nice chat with Tiffany at Brewability. And many of the things that have already been brought up, she echoed. She thought Englewood was just marvelous and happy with everything that has occurred. Is in the process of trying to get another grant through Englewood and just couldn't say enough about how pleased she was to be here. She did bring up something that, she said many of the other things that other people have already stated, but one of the things that she had mentioned is that downtown Arvada, as an example, had shut down and tried to bring people back downtown during the day a little bit with like an ice rink and just tried to get people downtown. And so she was trying to, if thinking out of the box was an option, how do we draw people downtown in a pandemic but outside in the cold? So she just wanted to make sure that we had that maybe in the back of our minds if there was a way to get a draw to downtown during the day in the winter months. Something like an ice rink was her suggestion.
Are you there, Brad?
Can you guys still? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Andrea, I did want to ask, did you mention anything about, or Amy, did you mention anything about the Arapahoe Cares funds? Because there's 1 or 2 more days that they can still apply for funds.
Yeah, I emailed her that link and told her that she had to apply by December 11th. So I did send her that one.
Okay. Amy?
Tiffany seemed to be fully aware and on top of everything that she could apply for. She was in the process of applying for a heater grant and some other things. She seemed to be well aware and was really looking at all the other municipalities as well, trying to find options for herself. She didn't need to seem to need any assistance in that capacity.
Good. Hey, David, if I can put you on the spot, could you talk about the stuff that council had gone through? I saw your email that you sent out to all the merchants through the Chamber of Commerce. Can you talk to that?
Sure. So, and Councilmember Russell want to say what you want to say as well. But we just sent out, after Monday's meeting, we wanted to update all of our restaurant and food service members. And I don't know if you many of you were on that Zoom of the city council meeting, but we were in support of, and this was based off of conversations we had with our members, our restaurant members, of the reduction of the delivery fee for third-party deliveries from 30% to 15%. And that was and again, Darren or Councilmember Russell, if I say this wrong, that was an ordinance. It was a CB 60 that you can find online, or we sent to everybody to see, that was in support of that. My understanding is that was a special ordinance, and if it had passed unanimously, it could then be reviewed the next day. It did pass the first reading and now requires a second reading that will be, I believe, takes 14 days before it can be read again. I'm right on that, I think. And so the chamber's role in that is we did bring together our member base. We did reach out to all council members and had some conversations with some of the city council members, and everybody, I think they were very respectful conversations, and everybody asked us questions. We shared our view, and they voted as they saw fit and what represented their constituents best. The other thing that came out of that meeting, and I think this was somewhat unanimous among all the city council members, was to use part of the CARES Act funding to try and reimburse our restaurant community that were using those third-party delivery services. As you know, there's a fee that they end up paying. So if I sell a $10 burrito, 30% of that I have to pay back to the delivery service, so I get $7 out of my $10 burrito. But I believe City Council was, and then the city was supportive of that, and the city created a grant program that if I was using that third party, I had to submit my receipts and I could be reimbursed. So I think those are both of those efforts are going to be well received by our restaurants and food service community that were using those third-party delivery systems. Not everybody was, mainly in part because of some of the fees that were associated with it. So that would be my report from that.
David, thank you so much for kind of rallying the chamber members for doing that. I think that's a really big step forward, and kudos to council for maybe not passing unanimously, but at least getting it heading in the right direction. I really appreciate that. I get those phone calls in my business from DoorDash and all the rest of them. Fortunately, they're not all charging 30% anymore, although they have written into their contracts that they can charge that. A lot of them are already charging 15%, or better yet still, some of them are even waiving their fees. So I think they see what's going on, and I think they're recognizing it as an opportunity to be able to help at a local level as well as kind of win new business. So city getting and limiting them to 15%, I think is a good deal. However long that lasts probably will be the important issue in the future.
Correct. And I think the ordinance, as you mentioned, stated until the end of March. It was a short-term solution to help some of the restaurants at that time. And again, we were just voicing the majority voice that we heard from all the restaurants that we had talked to, all the restaurant members and people in the community.
And I apologize because I didn't have, it's really been crazy busy the last 2 weeks, but the one thing that happened with the way the vote went down, it was voted 4-3, it passed, but it takes 14 days to come back to the second reading, but then the truth is the ordinance will not even go into effect for 30 days after it is passed. So it'll be the middle of January before it goes into effect. Were any of the restaurants in Englewood, I'm assuming that you personally talked to restaurants in Englewood, and because I really didn't hear from anybody, I think it would have been helpful to have input from both sides, from some of the delivery companies and some restaurants. And I think, here's my personal opinion, I did share this, we need to open up the restaurants. That is the bottom line. And so I'm all for it. I don't know if Englewood has the authority to just say, we're gonna open our restaurants. I don't know if that's true, but that is what needs to happen, because I think not just restaurants, everybody's hurting. I appreciate that, David,
Sure.
I guess we
And
just
again,
have
we
to-
were, yeah, I think to your point, they would all like
Thank
to
you, Rick.
as well, but yeah, in light of that, I think there was a bit of a fairness argument on their side as well, saying if we are, we are taking a hit by, we're doing our part as it maybe were by being closed. We understand that it's not where we want to be, but that's where we are. It is, and we heard some, we could go on, but we, from the chamber side of view, we heard not only stories about the delivery cost, but some other things that were going on that were detrimental to them, our restaurant community moving forward. And so that's where they all kind of came out in support of that. But I think, I thought the conversation was respectful and everybody made their points, and I think we'll be moving forward in a positive way. Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything to add as far as their phone calls? Well, since I can't see you all, I'll accept
Doesn't
that
look
as
like
a.
it.
Oh,
It doesn't
okay,
look
thank
like
you,
it.
Judy. Okay. So one of the things, Darren, I need a little bit of help on this. I can write up a cover letter to the survey, and we can send that off to council. When would you expect that we would get a chance to have some personal time with council to review this and answer any questions they might have?
So the survey itself is going to be in the council, in the COVID recovery update, which is a weekly update that goes to council. That'll go out this week with the information, Brad, that was presented to ACE today. You're welcome to submit that note to City Council at any time. Councilmember Russell can clarify if I get this wrong, please. But if council would like to invite ACE to attend an upcoming meeting at a study session, that item could be scheduled if that's the case. But the report's going to council on Friday via email. Brad, any note from ACE could go at any time following this survey, and any discussion with council would essentially come by invite, if I understand that correctly.
Can I request, Aaron, that if it's just coming out in the COVID report, that's a pretty long report. Is it possible just to send the report to City Council, or have it in I forget what part of it's like the weekly newsletter to council? Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. I will make sure that I will ask the city manager's office to make sure that we get it to council in an expeditious manner by the end of the week.
All right, thank you.
Darren, I'm not certain I understand. So if I do a cover letter, that will not make it in the packet?
Brad, as soon as you get the cover letter, what's your ETA on that cover letter, out of curiosity?
I could have something in the morning to you. It won't be long and elaborate, but I can probably write it tonight. I can write it tonight and send it over to you.
Email is perfect. We'll make sure that also gets to City Council as well.
Okay. All right. And then, Rita, are you thinking you want some representation from ACE to speak to this at the study session on Monday?
I don't know that we can do that because study sessions are generally scheduled out in advance. I'm not sure what's on that. And if I, as a matter of fact, we only have one more meeting in December after that. So I'm thinking we might not even, the committee, if you're going to speak to council during a study session, my guess is it would be after the first of the year. But there is nothing prohibiting each of you as members to address City Council about your concerns, which the last meeting, under public comment. So that would be not next Monday, but the following Monday.
So a week from Monday.
Yes.
Well, I'd be happy to come in and just do public comments if you think that would be helpful.
I think if several of you members would talk to city council, it might be very helpful.
Right, but don't we have like a 3-minute limit?
If you contact the city clerk by the Wednesday before, so a week from today, you could get 5 minutes.
Okay.
I'm just saying, every 2 minutes counts.
Well, I'd be happy to, go in and talk, with council at the next council meeting and get 5 minutes and share it with whoever wants to come with me.
Well, we could each sign up for 5 minutes, right? And just each have a part.
Yes.
Oh, good point.
Mm-hmm.
You are a crafty one, Andrea.
I am.
Like that.
All righty. Hey, Darren, can you help us orchestrate all this?
Absolutely, if necessary. The information for the city clerk's office is Councilmember Russell indicated. Just get that to us by Wednesday, that you're interested in doing that. Copy the city clerk's office on that note. In fact, you're going to send that directly to the city clerk's office. You have your name, your topic that you generally wish to discuss with city council, and they will, before the meeting, they'll send you the Zoom invite so that you can be incorporated into the meeting via Zoom.
Okay. And can I get some kind of indication from you all who wants to go in and be part of that? So it would be 1 week from Monday.
This is Steve. I would want to do that.
Okay.
Travis will help.
Travis, okay.
Andrea can help too.
Okay. So it sounds like there's 4 of us.
That's 20 minutes.
That's 20 minutes. Darren, are we working the system here a little bit?
I'm on mute trying to grab an email for you. This works fine. This is certainly, that's freedom of speech coming to life here. So city clerk's email is just cityclerk@Englewood. Same last part of my email or Shelley's email. cityclerk@englewoodco.gov. cityclerk@englewoodco.gov. Anybody that wishes to sign up, please name and topic. Councilmember Russell, is there anything further that needs is that all that's necessary, I believe? And I would put ACE member behind your affiliation. Just say ACE member Drevis or ACE member Andrea Mannion, please.
Yeah.
If I could get somebody to send me that email address.
Yeah, can you just send us all an email, Darren, with that link, and then we'll just all sign up.
It would be replying to the city clerk's office with that, but I will send you the city clerk's email after this meeting.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Thank you.
What time does that?
Generally, scheduled public comment starts around 7 o'clock. You may have to be on board a little bit early, depending on what's on the study session. And I can get an email to Brad that could be shared. I'll look at the agenda before then.
Yeah, you might want to be on early. You know, on Monday, you guys started at like 6:30. Yeah.
We started at 6.
Yeah, but your study session ended about 6:30, and so.
This last time, you're right.
Yeah,
that
it
has
was
happened.
fast.
Okay. If we could go around the horn for comments. Actually, help me out. Do I need to do anything from the public first?
Well, we have a guest still.
Right.
Yes, Brad. Mr. Jay
Okay.
McCutcheon from Comcast, can we introduce him now?
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
Hey,
Hey.
Sounds like I certainly understand it's challenging times for everybody. We are becoming more proactive in our development with our infrastructure in Englewood specifically. So I was wanting to become more a part of the economic development team here. Certainly understand the timing with the trials and tribulations that we're dealing with, you know, or the state of emergency we're in, is appreciate everything you're doing. I mean, businesses are out there, they're hurting, you're taking the effort, you're going out hands-on and seeing how you can help. We have those efforts in place as well, helping businesses with their current foundation concerning their internet, telecommunications, and infrastructure. Where we're looking to help a little bit more, although the timing might be a little bit off for certain business verticals, is to help finance the build out of our facilities to their infrastructure to make it more feasible and reasonable to get services there to where they're not incurring large significant fees, or where they can run their business critical applications a little bit more efficiently. We've noticed there's been a huge trend towards like what we're on now, which is a Zoom conference call requiring bandwidth and connectivity for a lot of these businesses and migrating their current services. So we're here to assist in a few different ways. One is from a capital expenditure feasibility with the city of Englewood and helping different build out and business developments that are in place or proposed. The other is to help out with the migration of certain IT and technical networking infrastructures where businesses are having a challenge to adapt this new environment, whether it be adapting to virtual meetings, virtual calling, operations and efficiencies, and working remotely. So we're here to help the city as a strong contributor to Denver altogether with those efforts. So any way I can help out with that. I don't know if you want to plug me into certain people within the economic development group who are focused on certain growth and development areas, which I have been attuned to helping out with on a national level and other cities as well. But we want to help businesses that you're hands-on talking to who are struggling, first and foremost, to survive. So that's our main goal here and objective of getting more acquainted with the city of Englewood. Hello.
We're here.
No, someone just popped on. Looked like they're from a hospital.
Oh.
Amy.
Well,
Gallagher,
that might be Dylan.
Anyway, so thank you for letting me introduce myself. Certainly, I have given all my information out, and anyone who wants to contact me directly, I work directly with corporate here in Colorado. We're more than willing to help out any way we can for your efforts.
Well, thank you very much. We do appreciate your willingness to work with the city and local businesses in Englewood. It certainly is a challenging time, and I think everybody's doing their best to kind of work together to make some different things happen. And it's great to hear that you're trying to help businesses get connected with higher bandwidth.
Well, not only that, I mean, it's to make sure they stay in business, as your concerns are too. Not only to make sure they stay in business, but also to help the city in the growth and economic development once things start to revitalize themselves in different business parks where funding is needed to get infrastructure. And we're willing to dig into that funding and help offset it. So businesses don't get put in a bad position of not having the infrastructure they need to run their operations. But the main objective now is to keep businesses active, to keep them obviously alive and running. And so, you know, I'm here to help first and foremost on that perspective.
Jay, this is Judy. You mentioned infrastructure foundation. What is that?
Yeah, sorry about the technical terms. So typically, say Englewood Incorporated would be a good example. A while back, I'll just take an example. Years ago, Centennial Airport had a huge issue with the current local exchange operator, Quest CenturyLink. They were getting saturated facilities that would go underwater and actually take down facilities or make facilities very slow to respond or cutting out. They couldn't do operations. We actually built close to $120,000 of our own pockets in building infrastructure out to that airport. Now, you know, there's a lot more growth and development in that area, but it's to expand our facilities and networks to areas to where they might be struggling, or you hear there's a lot of complaints on, hey, I just can't get the connectivity I need to work efficiently and effectively. The internet keeps dropping, the bandwidth isn't supporting my remote Zoom applications or WebEx applications. Again, sorry to become a little technical on the front here of explaining it, but at the end of the day, our goal is to help the city and its economic growth in Englewood.
Thank you.
Do we have other questions?
Yes, I do. I'm curious. So individual businesses can reach out to you for help, is that right? And also we're looking at what does the city of Englewood need from you? Are those?
Correct. Individual businesses can absolutely reach out directly, and we could, you know, direct them accordingly within the corporation of how we can assist and help them with their current struggles and efforts. With the city of Englewood, there are certain phases that might not be in the front of your priority list right now, but later on might be a priority of development, to where business parks are developing, and we need to have rapid and immediate response in getting our facilities to those areas for property managers, for real estate perspectives, or just for economic growth of certain areas that Englewood might have target for business revitalization.
Great, thank you.
Well, based on that, I would have something to add, or maybe see what you have to say. It has, I guess it's been difficult for my businesses that are in the city center area, so right near where Englewood city offices are at, to have good bandwidth. Both CenturyLink and Comcast seem to provide, I think, kind of minimal service. CenturyLink obviously can provide more bandwidth, but you know, Comcast has had very limited service in that area. Is that the type of thing that you guys get involved in providing access to higher bandwidth facilities?
Absolutely, you're right on target, Brad. I mean, if you're talking about city center area, what we could do virtually, or if you're comfortable later on when things lighten up, is we could sit down and look at some mapping, and we could target out certain areas or cross streets where you know, you have economic growth or a focus on you know getting that space occupied with businesses, or rezoning, for instance, and we can pull those facilities there to increase higher bandwidth availability, to create business continuity. In other words, customers don't slowly want to put everything on CenturyLink, because what happens if it goes down? We happen to be a completely separate entity as far as our footprint's concerned. So a lot of people like to run us simultaneously to ensure their business never goes down and they have the continuity. With that, if you want me to reach out and carve out some time and talking with somebody with some specific demographics, I'll be more than willing to do that.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, Fred.
Okay. Well, I would love to follow up on that, and I don't know if it's my place to, or if it's somebody from the city that actually needs to follow up. But I'm very interested in that, and it might map well to potentially some future plans for the Downtown Development Authority also.
Sure. And I'm willing to help out, whether it be directly with the city and the city infrastructure, which sounds kind of like the route you're taking, or with business development focus on certain areas where you plan on creating more economic growth, or making initiatives out there and incentives for businesses to move in and occupy those spaces.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
So does this have anything to do with the ballot initiative that was just on the ballot last month for providing broadband services?
I'm not sure I'm aware of that, a ballot initiative.
Okay, I will ask.
It could be. I mean, it could be why I was brought on and asked to reach out. It very likely is, but that specific ballot I'm not too familiar with.
Okay, all right, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, so if we could go around, members' choice. Do we have any board members that have anything that they'd like to add or provide?
I did. So I just want everyone to know that I spoke at the council meeting on Monday about my experience getting the universal business license that is required January 1st now for service-based businesses. I don't know if you guys remember, but the finance department had asked ACE about our thoughts about it, and we had recommended it based on stipulations that there is amnesty, that enough information was sent out, and everything like that. So I just want to say, when I signed up for mine, I didn't really exactly receive a good experience, and it was kind of what I was worried about, or we were all worried about, is as soon as I applied for my license, I got the license in the mail, and I was kind of disappointed I didn't get sent the business resource guide or the welcome letter from the mayor. So I know ACE worked on that welcome package, and I was kind of hoping I would have received it in the same envelope, and I did not. So I received my license, and then immediately I received a tax bill that they were estimating I owed $9,540 since I started my business. Now, since I'm a tax accountant, I kind of know those are estimate amounts. I don't really owe those. I just need to go file my returns, for those years. And I did, and I really owed like $60.10 for my 6 years of being in business in Englewood. So on use tax, because I don't purchase that many online business, office supplies. So, but I spoke to council about this because I was worried that other service-based businesses, as soon as they, get their sign up for this license, that they're going to receive the same tax bill and not really understand. And then I was also incorrectly assessed $450 of penalty fees that were basically just made up based on the estimates. And I know I don't owe those because it's based on your actual tax liability, but I was still owed those on my account. And so I had contacted, the finance department and asked them about this. And I also asked them about the amnesty application, if these, made up penalty fees were part of amnesty, if I needed to fill that out. And I did not get a response. And so I decided to submit a written statement and speak at the council meeting. And then once the city manager and finance director saw that, they did go in and say that mistakes were made and they corrected my account. But I still kind of spoke about how I'm concerned how now other businesses are going to get the same thing. And so I don't know, Darren, if ACE can get the new license data from the universal business license people, businesses signing up now. Because I would just like to reach out and make sure, see if they're receiving these assessments and these same penalty fees that they don't need to be paying. Because not all of them are going to know, to contact city council and get their accounts corrected like I did. And so I'm kind of worried about that. And I'm also wondering, can we work with the finance department to send our welcome letter out with the license? I mean, it seems like a really easy step to do because they already send the license in a pretty big envelope. It's just a matter of putting more information in there.
Andrew, on both counts, I like the idea of including that the welcome letter with the license. That seems very efficient. As far as information sharing, we just started our interactions with licensing to find out what information can be shared and how can we use that. And obviously in the era of COVID, we want to be able to contact all businesses by type that are licensed. So home-based businesses, if we get the home-based grant, or restaurants, if we have restaurant type grants. So just trying to understand now what information is available. But we will definitely reach out to finance to see if we can include the business welcome letter packet with the licensing process. That's a great idea. And as far as the other pieces, I don't want that to be a stumbling block at all. So maybe there's an opportunity to also talk to finance, especially about home-based businesses, so that they don't get that shocker that you did of, oh man, that's a lot of money. And that's not the intent. I think it was.
And that's what I spoke about, is like our intention was not. And this is one of the issues we've heard on ACE a lot, right? Is that businesses say the first thing they hear from the city, or the first introduction from the city they get, is a tax bill. And now I experienced that. I didn't get a welcome to Englewood. I got, you owe us $9,540, which is like a totally made up number, by the way. And most people, and I've seen some of my own clients, they don't understand because this letter is scary and threatening. Some of them end up just paying it, and they don't understand that they really don't owe it. They just need to go file their corrected amounts. And so I don't think it was very business friendly. I didn't receive any information on use tax, or like you said, the business resource guide. It was just, here's a tax bill. So I'm very concerned about all other businesses applying, for this license now, getting the same thing.
If I may comment on this, I would like to know why the big, huge miss from the city's perspective on the intent and our support of this.
Well, that's what I wanted to know too, Brad, because I didn't want the city to use this as an excuse to go and like audit and charge businesses all this money, because as soon as I put on my application when I started my business, which was in 2014, they just sent me a tax bill for all those years. And I was like, I thought this is about going forward when I wasn't required to get a license back in those years. I don't know why they're assessing me since I started my business. So I don't know.
Andrea, that's great feedback. And Brad, that I think what we might do is circle up with the finance/licensing team to find out if there's a better way to go about doing this, and let finance know that there's been some concerns on the part of businesses, especially those that are being looked at retroactively. It's obviously a formula. They're trying to hit it with a formula.
And I know it's like an automated process in UniRevs because as soon as it's in UniRevs, you know, it's just looking at that date of your first day of business.
Right.
And then it just sends you this tax bill with like an outrageous flat amount saying you owe all this money.
And that's really intimidating.
For every year. And so, like I said, most people are not going to know what to do to get that corrected like I do because I file this stuff for a living and I know. So
I'll reach out to finance to have that conversation with their the head of their licensing team to find out what the if there's any clarification that can be added. Maybe it's within the question, but within an automated letter like that, there should be some way to correct that so that you are only responsible for X. You are only responsible for X amount of this, or this is based off of an estimate. Your actual will be calculated by your accountant or something to that effect. So I'll reach out to finance with that information.
because I know we've gotten a spreadsheet in the past of all licensed businesses. So I was just wondering if ACE is still able to get that information, which is the biggest reason why we supported this bill was to be able to get that data. So we knew exactly how many Englewood businesses there were, even home-based ones that we could reach out to and help. So I know that was one of the biggest reasons why we did this.
Well, I'm glad you got your welcome letter, which is good, because that means that the system that ACE put into place, at least on that side of the equation, is still working. So thank you for that recommendation. Love the idea of connecting the two between the licensing and the business component. And we do continue to get those reports from finance, and that's what's driving the issuance of our welcome letter from the city. So Andrea, I'll bring this up, and we can certainly bring this up at a future or the next ACE meeting if we want to discuss this a little further.
Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea.
Mm-hmm.
Other member feedback?
No, Brad, don't see any.
Okay. David, do you have anything?
I don't. We're just looking forward to get through 2021, and then we'll see what 2020 does, and then get to 2021 and see where that leads us. Thanks, everybody, and have a good holiday.
Rita, do you have anything?
I don't have anything additionally. So thank you all. I agree with David, and so 2021 is going to be better.
Thanks everyone for letting me introduce myself. Darren, feel free to share my information with the team here. Anyone reach out to me if you have questions, and Brad, I'll try to circle back around with you when you have some time as well.
Okay, I appreciate that. Darren, do you have anything else?
I have nothing further. I'm really glad we did this survey. This really got some great information. It'll be in council's hands later this week. Excellent stuff, excellent findings, and I'm sure council will be curious and interested to have this in their hands.
That's great news. That's great news. Well, listen, everyone, we're meeting again at the beginning of January, or excuse me, in January, not the beginning of January. As has been said, have a wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year.
Yay.
With that, I call our meeting to an end.
Take care, everybody.
Very good. Happy
Bye.
holidays. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Happy holidays.
See some of you at the council.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You bet. Take care.